Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm finally getting around to my Q&A. When I hit 1K, I said I was gonna do one, then I lied. I never did. And then when I hit 2K, I said I'm gonna do a Q&A, and it's been like 2 or 3 months. I think it was like May. So I'm finally just gonna
finally getting there. Yeah.
You know,
right.
First time Tim's been able to come over in forever.
Yeah, thanks.
Good
to the
thing my county only has, and technically like your county, I guess right now,
at the moment,
only has one case. That's like.
Yeah, go.
I gotta say, Maine's like 48th out of 50 out of the states. That's like one thing we're good at. Granted, it's because no one lives up here. Hey, pop, and then Daisy's gonna make an appearance. Hey, you want to get in the Q&A too?
Yeah, you can ask some questions.
Daisy dog.
You can ask some questions. Dude.
She's like, I am the attention whore, and I need the attention.
Constant pampering. Yeah.
So, anyways, I'm gonna do some Q&As and stuff, and we'll just see how it goes. So
For the days you will let us,
yeah.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? Do you have a question for me? You don't get a treat right now, just so you know. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I got a few questions that like some of my work friends and stuff I want to make sure I get to. And then I threw just a bazillion in a bowl, and we're gonna just see how many we get to. Because I have a feeling I'm gonna ramble on, and also need Tim here to moderate because there's been so many legends and mythologies that have been accumulated to like
accreted around you.
That I need a
Need someone to keep him honest,
yeah. So that's why he's here.
We have kind of a Pinocchio meter. Yeah.
No, I'm too lazy to edit that in.
All right. Our first question is quite short. It is, what is the role of historical fiction?
I think the person was asking, like, does it have value? And I think it's basically because I read a lot of history and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think there is kind of like a prejudice, like there are like some history snobs that basically say historical fiction's like a joke, and it, like I personally don't read historical fiction, but I can see why people would read it. If it's well researched and stuff, you can still learn a ton of like historical facts and stuff that'll just like accumulate throughout the novels and stuff. I personally just don't read historical fiction because I don't read a lot of fiction in general. Literally, the only stuff I read that's fiction are fantasy books, and even that's like going way down the wayside, and like some Warhammer stuff. So I just don't have time to read like any more like.
What's the crossover point there? What at what point is fantasy too like low fantasy for you to read it? Historical fiction.
Yeah, I don't know. Like
yeah, it has to be magic or something.
Yeah, like to me, my thing is with like fantasy. Like I guess why I don't read historical fiction is I read so much just regular history that I'm already gonna be like reading for the facts and stuff anyway. So if I'm reading something, I want it just like to go into La La Land and
feels
pretend.
too much like work.
Yeah, I just like I like most of the time I actually listen to fantasy, so it's more just like escapism. So that's partly why I guess.
Yeah.
So,
also, I imagine it's infuriating because you know a lot about these historical periods to see them get stuff wrong.
Oh, that would be bad. I've never, like I said, I'm gonna give. Someday I'll probably give like sword and sandal era, like the classical world, Greco-Roman stuff, maybe some historical fiction to try. But other than that, I don't really foresee much, to be honest.
Right.
Maybe like Bernard Cornwell or something. He's like super highly regarded.
Yeah.
But
I like his stuff.
So hopefully that answered the question.
Right. Okay. We have a few on this one.
Oh, boys.
Your favorite nonfiction book?
Oh, I kept them like if like one person asked a bunch of questions, I just like kept them together.
Right.
Because I was lazy. All right. Favorite nonfiction book?
That's right.
Okay, history is very hard. I did do a video on like my 5-ish favorite history books at the moment or something, but even then, like I'd have to be almost like, that's why I do best of like different subgenres. I'll like put like the playlist up there or whatever. Like I'll do like my favorite Greek books of the year or Greek history books of the year, or like my favorite biographies of the year. And I do them at the halfway point. That's what I've been doing like the past month. But I mean, I can't like judge like, for example, like an ancient Roman history book with like a World War I history book. It's just too weird for me to be like, oh, this one's. I mean, it might be better, but I don't see how I could ever have like a best history book just cause I don't know. But for nature and stuff, at the moment, I do have a favorite nature book and some contenders like in the top 3. But definitely Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer is the best nonfiction book. And like if anyone asks for my recommendation, I want everyone to read that one. Like it's just a great blend of like ecology and conservation and like loving the natural world, along with like Native American kind of just like wisdom and stuff, and just like with part memoir. and she's just like, she's got like amazing stories to tell and writes really well, and it's just super good. Like I said, how often do I buy multiple copies of a book, Tim?
Almost never.
How often do I reread books, Tim?
Practically
I'm
never.
gonna be rereading when there's a special edition coming out in a couple months. I'm gonna force someone to get me for my birthday, and I'm gonna do a reread in the same year that I already read the book. So I've never done that in my life.
You might not know, but that is a huge recommendation, right?
Yeah, I don't think I've only reread probably like a dozen books.
You're not really a comfort rereader. You don't really go back to your old favorites.
Very rarely, like Lord of the Rings, I have, and like The Hobbit and stuff.
Yeah.
But other than that, very rarely. Like sometimes like a rare, really good history book, like I'll read like 10 like stuff I read like in high school or early college or whatever, which has been like 8 or 9, 10 years now. I might reread if I want to like relearn that, and I know it's like a good book or whatever. But yeah, like
take something outstanding.
I've never reread something within like 5 years, let alone twice in the same year. So
there's so many other things to read. Right?
There's that.
Yeah. This person continues on. Would like to know your favorite drink, but this one has 2 subcategories. Your favorite alcoholic and non-alcoholic drink. Let's start with non-alcoholic because it's less fun.
Probably I like my pre-workout. I actually only drink. I still drink a tiny bit of soda. Like if I ever go out though with quarantine, that hasn't been very often.
Right.
But I'd really just basically drink water, my pre-workout, and like a post-workout shake. And the post-workout shakes suck generally. Like even the best ones are not really that great. So, but the pre-workout, like I don't know. I think it's a placebo at this point.
Right, you get a sort of associative thing.
So it's either water or that. So that's that.
Another fun part: the favorite alcoholic.
Okay, if we're talking shots, rum probably.
I don't think anyone said shots. Did someone say shots?
Closely followed by gin, which is like the goofiest thing ever. But if we're talking about like a mixed drink, probably a kamikaze.
Kamikaze.
I would say, and if you guys don't know, secret. That was
secret. Yeah.
Hey, Secret Tim is like a quasi bartender, basically. So
Amateur. Quasi bartender.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. So every now and then when we hang out, I can make him make me like
I don't think we have the makings for kamikazes today, but
no,
sometime soon we'll have to bring over some more stuff.
So I would go kamikaze.
Yeah.
Oh, and then for beer, if it's a beer, I like Midas Touch by Dogfish Head Ale, and it's actually based on like an ancient recipe loosely that an archaeologist found like a Bronze Age site, and they kind of like try to recreate the formula, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's good stuff. All right, and the final one from this person is your favorite meal.
Different kinds of seafood probably. Like I'm trying to slowly like go pescatarian, which is the only meat I would eat would be seafood. My favorite fish is probably flounder, and then, but I think probably well cooked scallops probably are my favorite. I don't know if I have like a meal, but because we're boring up here, like northern Maine, like it's always like meat and potato, like everything. Yeah. That's just like what people do because we're so milk toast up here. But you know,
we kind
scallops would probably be my favorite main thing in a meal.
Oh, they're great, aren't they? Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna skip over to one of the work questions now. Most interesting experience with an animal.
Andy asked that one, so if you're watching, Andy. All right, most interesting experience with an animal. I'll just do a couple, I guess. I almost stepped on a water moccasin like the second to last day I lived in Florida, so that was kind of scary, actually. If you guys don't know what a water moccasin or it might be called a cottonmouth where you live, they're like super poisonous or venomous. So I don't know if that's interesting. At Silver Springs before that place like shut down, when I lived in Florida, I used to go there all the time, but I think like the aquifer dried up, which is sad. So people that don't believe in global warming, climate change, aquifers don't just dry up. Cause that's probably more from my overuse of the water system. But anyways, I was like, we were like walking or whatever, and I like looked over a little bank, and there's like a giant alligator, like 10, maybe not 10 feet, maybe like 4 feet below me. I'm like, yeah, I'm going the other way. And then recently, actually, when I climbed Haystack in June or July, I was on top of, we call it a mountain. It's really not that tall. I think it's like 2,000 feet or 1,500 feet. Yeah, it's really not much. But while I was up there taking a picture of a butterfly of all things, I heard rustling. And I thought it was a kid. I'm like, oh, I better get it before that kid scares away. And it's actually a moose just like coming out of the brush. But the top of the mountain's like it's just like boulders and rocky. So it's kind of weird. Yeah. and he was just kind of like a young. I think it was a young. It's hard to tell the difference between a male and female when they're young because they both have like the dewlap thing. Though males have it more pronounced, but when they're young, it's kind of. It was only a side profile. So, but anyways, and he was there so it was kind of cool, just like being with the moose on top of a mountain by myself because I went early and I was the only one there, so that was pretty cool. Being like right up, probably about 30 feet away, maybe, I don't know, 25, 30 feet away. Yeah. Until I spooked him by like
got a good shot out of it too, I think.
Yeah, I got a picture of it. Maybe if I'm not lazy and edit the video, I'll put the picture like right there.
All right. When did you start your library? Someone asks.
When did I start my library? I used to back in the day. I'd say probably like freshman year of college. I'd say when I actually had a tiny bit of money.
Right.
I still lived at home at the time. I had a couple fantasy books. Like I had like Game of Thrones and a couple of like just the popular series. But I mostly just read history like in college era pretty much. And that's when I started building up. I probably have a few books still from like that time period. I think, yeah, it must. Of course, is my memory that good? I don't know. Like Song of Wrath, I know I had like then, which is about the Peloponnesian War and stuff. I had like way back when. So that would have been what? How old am I? Do I want to date myself? That would have been 2010 or 2011 when I started. So yeah, that's that.
A little while, I know. All right. Oh, interesting. Okay, a topic or time in history that doesn't get a lot of attention but should.
I answered like when we made the for the history challenge. We know what that readathon is that's going on like right now. Me and Emma and Jenny and another Justin are co-hosting that. I'll leave the announcement video down below. But I think we made an accompanying tag, and that's pretty much the same. Like what question that we had something very similar. And in that video, I think I said the ancient Near East, just anything pre-Greco-Roman. So Sumeric or Akkadian, the Hittites, pretty much everything on like this shelf right here. Babylon, Earth 3 Dynasty, Mitanni, Kassites, Egypt. Now Egypt has actually quite a lot. The others didn't, like Mycenae, the Minoans. Probably missing a few that I like enjoying stuff. But anyways, all those like ancient Near Eastern cultures kind of get like lumped together. Usually like they'll talk, history starts at Sumer. They'll talk about that a little bit. Then they'll talk about Sargon of Akkad, and then Hammurabi, and then there's the Bronze Age, and then it's gone. It's like a 1 chapter, 2 chapters, and like like a world history overview. But a lot of those empires are like, it's kind of sad. Like for example, the Kassites. I think it's the Kassites. It was an empire after like the famous old Babylonian Empire before the Neo-Babylonians under like Nebuchadnezzar, which is like pretty late in the game actually. The Kassites like control like the Babylonian area for about 400 years, and we literally don't even know like a single king's name or something. I can't remember if it's the Kassites or Mitanni that we don't know. I think it's the Kassites, but it's just like weird. It's like a whole kingdom / mini empire that we don't even know, like, and we literally know like their name, but we have no like personal data and stuff. But I think just like the ancient Near East, I mean, they were the ones, especially in Western civilization, they started everything. They started cities. They started like hardcore like irrigation agriculture. They started like slate, like, I don't know, just everything that we associate.
A far larger footprint historically than we would.
Yeah, because the thing is, they might have screwed up on a lot of things, but you gotta remember they didn't have like predecessors, like especially like Sumer and Akkad and stuff. There was no blueprint to really be going off there. Or if there was, it's very murky and I don't know. I just imagine living back then. Imagine living in 2500 BC and it's just like, or BCE, and it's just, I don't know. It would have been really, really difficult, but I don't know, just being able to accomplish what they did.
Right.
Like I said, but like
certainly a testament to their industry. Emma asks, what is your favorite place on Earth?
Favorite place? Oh yeah, and she put because I asked, you mean like I've been to or not been like anywhere in the world, and she said either or both. So favorite place I have been to, there is a tree. So I'd say underneath a special tree in Bar Harbor, Maine. I'll leave it at that. Okay. And then it's overlooking like the coast or the shoreline and whatever. A place that I really want to go. I probably is kind of milquetoast, but I'd really like to go to Iceland and like spend like 3 or 4 months just backpacking around Iceland and seeing everything, because there's just so much cool stuff over there from what I've seen and everything. I was like, I would love to just like goof around and just meander all over the place and
Looks like a good
have basically like no set schedule or plan or whatever, and just kind of wing it.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah. Sounds great.
Or if I have to pick like a tropical place, I would go to Lord Howe Island.
Right.
Because my last name's Howe, if you guys don't know, and apparently
Right.
that's like a place, so I'd be royalty there or something.
All right. Another one. Oh, we've got another couple of questions here. What event in the ancient Olympics would you have competed in and why?
Oh boys. Okay, the one I'd probably the best at, I'd say probably be the all around event, which is the pentathlon, which included the Stadia Run, which is pretty equivalent to like the 200-meter dash or 200-yard dash, followed by like discus throwing and javelin throwing, plus the long jump, and then the fifth one was wrestling. So it wasn't as prestigious per se as just like the pure runner or the pure fighter, because there's boxing, pancration, and wrestling, but you were considered like the best all around athlete, but you weren't like specialized stuff. So I think I'd probably do the best at that one, just because I'm not like I do a lot of weightlifting and I'm strong like that,
Yeah,
but
right,
not.
right.
They don't have like any powerlifting powerlifting events in the ancient Olympics. The one I'd like to say I would do would be the pancration, which essentially is like UFC MMA, with even less rules. But what I think wrestling was considered, I can't remember if boxing or wrestling was considered the highest of the three like fighting like ones, but I don't think I'd do good at like wrestling or boxing, but like that one I would like to say I would like to be good.
Yeah.
But
With glory.
I don't know.
Glory.
It would be cool to like get a wreath though. That's all you got when you won the Olympics, or the Pythian Games, or the Nemean Game, or the Isthmian Games, because there's actually 4 Pan-Hellenic ones that were held like on alternating years and stuff. You technically only won a wreath, and there are actually different ones. There's the laurel wreath, oak leaf, myrtle leaf, and wild celery. But
Yeah,
your city-state basically lauded you as like a heroic champion, and you got like the best seats and for like plays, and you didn't have to pay taxes sometimes, and you get like
Hero
prizes of
materials,
olive oils from your city-state. But yeah, technically, officially, there was like no prize except the wreath. But yeah, you were basically immortalized in your like lifetime, so
Yeah.
would have been pretty
He
sad.
pivots to what 40K class would you like to be? Would you be play? I guess.
40K. I don't read like that much 40K. I read a lot of Horse Heresy stuff. I do like the Astartes. If we're talking about like the different like factions and stuff, though, I do like the Mechanicum. I'd probably get like some half like tech priest guy. I mean, I got like, where's Mechanicum? Like this is like one of the coolest covers. Like I think in Warhammer stuff. This tech priest right here. I don't know. Like you're half like robotic, half like you're more prestigious and like the less like like flesh you actually have like left and stuff. So I'd probably be like, I wouldn't be like 97% like some of the like Forge Lords or whatever, but I don't know, maybe like 25%. Like,
Right.
I don't know, but I mean obviously I could just
So a cyborg.
be an Astartes
right.
and just like dominate like everything, but
Yeah.
I don't know. If you talk about weapons, I unfortunately I don't like. I can't remember like anything off the
Right.
top of my head.
Well, he has one final question.
Yeah. And this was Scott from Book Invasion that asked these questions.
Okay,
if I remember.
Good question. What author would you like to fight in a boxing match,
Yes.
living or dead?
Oh my gosh. Okay, you give me your answer first. You had a good one. Were you going with Lovecraft?
I would go with Lovecraft. Yeah. You
who would
gotta
I-
fight Lovecraft. Personally, because he deserved it.
Yeah, he probably would. Who would I fight? I don't know. I almost want to pick someone that could like put up a fight, at least like something of a fight, rather than just be like a complete beatdown. I don't know. I guess I could fight like Theodore Roosevelt because he wrote a lot of books and he was the president, but he also like enjoyed boxing at the White House, so he'd actually probably
He's gonna kick your ass.
he's pretty tough.
Yeah.
Bull Moose might beat me up. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know who I don't really hate any authors. Like I try not to like hate people, so
Yeah.
I don't. Unless it was just like Sanderson, because he wasted like 100 hours of my life so far, and I just want to get him. I can't get him back, so I just like fight him. I think I'd be able to beat him.
Yeah. As a side question, for me, who is your favorite author and why is it Brandon Sanderson?
Yeah. Okay. What is this? Oathbringer. As I like it. I gotta go check and make sure it's still like roughly.
Yeah. You can't see it from here, but it made a huge hole in the floor where it struck, and it's falling down into the depths of the house now.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry for all you Sanderson fans. I had to.
Yeah.
Oh, boys. Yeah, I'm still probably going to get Rhythm of War when it comes out.
Yeah.
Why do I want to punish myself?
Yeah, looks like a nice cover.
Well, with that, let's get some drinks. Mr. Bar.
Oh, yeah, we'll take a quick break.
Did you already pick one?
No, that's fine.
No, I meant like a question. I'll just answer it while you get me a drink.
Oh, send me on a drink with. All right, let's see it.
All right, it is. Do you ever read about Serbia? I haven't read any specific books on Serbia, though. A lot of my World War I books definitely deal with the Eastern Front and Serbia, like when the Kaiser invaded Serbia and stuff. I do have, I think Prit Butar, I think that's his name, has like a whole like quadrology of giant books on the Eastern Front. I've read the first one. That definitely had like an entire major section on the invasion of was it Belgrade, I think is the capital of Serbia and stuff. So I think that was definitely really good. One book on my TBR is Balkan Ghosts, which deals with the whole Balkan area, and I'm sure Serbia has like a big section in that book. But other than that, I don't have any specific books on Serbia. I don't have too many books on like individual countries per se. I don't think. Though also another topic in like Serbian history that I need to read about is was it the Battle of the Crows or whatever, the first Battle of Kosovo, I think is what it's called.
And instantly the rating for this video goes up. So
Or down.
yeah, probably.
If you don't know, I tried to film the Drunk Book Tag with Tim at one point.
We might have tried too hard.
It didn't turn out well. Then when we sobered up the next day, I was like, I can't publish that. I can't. All right, and the second part is top five books on ancient Rome. Ooh, oh boys. I don't know if they're the top five, but I'll pick five like really good books, just like off the ones I have like on my shelf right there. Okay, let's do this real fast. Let's see. Of course, it's on my top shelf over here. We got this one, and then we got, that's my personal favorite. This one's really good, and then we got that one. One more. Do I have another one? I probably have like some audiobooks that would fit, but I don't know if I'd go with. Yeah, I guess we'll go with this one, just because I can't think of one right off the top of my head right this second. We'll do that then. Alright, so we've got a biography of Cicero by Anthony Everett. He's a pretty prominent historian of the classical world. SPQR by Mary Bead, everyone loves. I actually didn't find it like the greatest, but I think it's more because it's almost like not an introductory book, but it's I think it's for people getting into Roman history, and it will be a classic in a decade or two for sure. Let's see. One of my favorite history books of all time here is the First Punic War, which is about the first war between Rome and Carthage. The Second Punic War is the one with Hannibal and Scipio, and the first one is completely glossed over every time, even though it's the longest continuous major war in the classical world. It was 23 years with no breaks. Peloponnesian War is a little bit longer, but there was technically a continuous peace in the middle. And also, the Battle of Ecnomus was a naval battle, and actually it's kind of interesting because it's all fought either in Sicily or around Sicily, and there's actually a lot of, it's almost I'd say a majority like a naval war, which is interesting because Rome had no navy beforehand. So that kind of speaks to like their ingenuity and like kind of determination and stuff after they literally lost 3 separate full fleets by storms. But anyways, Battle of Ecnomus is probably the largest naval battle in the history of the world if you go by manpower. The largest naval battle in World War II was Leyte Gulf, and I think there was more ships. But back in World War II, actually, on a lot of those ships, you didn't need as many people per ship. I mean, obviously, some of the like major battleships and aircraft carriers would have more people, but a typical like quinquereme would have about 300 people on it. And if you're talking about a battle with hundreds and hundreds of quinqueremes on each side, I mean, it was literally, like I said, manpower-wise, it's probably the most manpower, the most human like driven naval battle in the history of the world, and like no one even like knows that. like I said, it gets skipped over. It's because the reason I think it does is because there's not many big names. What's interesting about the first Pinot Noir, besides oh, why am I drawing a blank? Hannibal's father, Hannibal. What's Hamilcar? I was being really numb there for a second. Hamilcar Barca. Uh, Pretty much everyone only like was either very milk toast and like no one remembers them, or like on the Roman side, like 95% of them only were generals for a year, which was the standard practice in ancient Rome before the Second Punic War. So none of them really could get a big name for themselves, if that makes sense. Like proconsulships, which is like when you're a consul and you command an army, and then when you become a proconsul, you still have like consular authority, even though you're not a consul. That didn't like happen until like the Second Punic War. So there's no Roman names really associated with First Punic War, except Duilius maybe, who's like won the first naval battle for like Rome. But even then, no one knows Duilius, but at least some people vaguely heard of Scipio Africanus, I guess. The Death of Caesar is really good if you want to learn about like kind of the fall of the Republic. It's partially like a biography, but it's really about sort of that whole event and stuff. Highly recommend that one. I'm going to try to go a little bit fast because I'm trailing now. One of my favorite books here is Adrian Mayer's The Poison King, which is all about Mithridates and not strictly Roman per se, but it's definitely on the end of the Roman Republic as well. That whole period. Mithridates was like king, a really cool, interesting king of Pontus. Definitely should have like a Showtime or HBO series after him. Like for real, like he's got so much. He fought Sulla, he fought Lucullus, and he fought Pompey, and none of them were really able to just like knock him down. Like he was knocked down like all the time, but he always was able to like get up and like rally like different like people around like the Black Sea and stuff, and always like kept fighting for literally like decades against Rome. So
that's amazing. Yeah. Do you note or highlight when you read?
I do not. Like when I read Braiding Sweetgrass for the second time, I'm gonna read the hardcover special edition and then highlight the paperback as I read. So the hardcover stay pristine, but the paperback will have notes and stuff. Because I plan on doing like maybe something with that for some videos and stuff. But yeah, I honestly don't. Though it's kind of interesting because probably I'd say like 90% of my books are used, and then a lot of the history books, if they were like used like in college or something, like all of them have like highlights. It's kind of interesting to see other people's, but I don't personally highlight. Sometimes I take, very rarely, but sometimes I do take notes in like a notebook, like a separate notebook, but not in the book itself.
What period of Roman history is your favorite?
All right, it used to be late antiquity is probably one of my favorite periods of all time, which is like from Diocletian, beginning of like the late Roman Empire down through the early Middle Ages. But right now, okay, so it's either from Diocletian to the end of the western half, or it probably is like the Middle Republic. So say from like 300 to like 100 BCE, because that's when you have literally like every so there's so many like little Gallic tribes, so many, you got even a few Germanic tribes and stuff, but like there's Pontus, there's Parthia, there's all the Greek city-states, there's Macedonia, there's the Seleucids, there's Ptolemaic Egypt, there's all the Celto-Iberian tribes in Spain, there's the well, I mean, I guess then the Britons really, they didn't do anything till well, I mean, they were obviously doing stuff, but they weren't like known to the Romans till Caesar. You have all the Carthage, you have all like the North African tribes, you got like everything kind of going on, and Rome, this is like when Rome barely had like Italy, so I don't know. There's just like a ton of cultures to learn about, and they all like are interacting like on a year by year basis and stuff. So probably like the Middle Republic.
Sounds pretty cool.
And that's before like Rome was like super like inept and I mean obviously like every kind of king like polity back then was like corrupt, I guess. But this was before like the real corruption and like at the end of like in the hundreds and stuff when like they actually had like an empire and stuff. So it was kind of like still like the old virtue of like the Romanitas or whatever, but
before the decline, much publicized. How did you get into wood burning signs? Our second question for Emma.
Oh, how did we get into? Okay, yeah. That was just like I wanted to make some signs for something like a gift or something, and I tried wood burning, and I was like okay at it, but not good enough where I'd want to like give people stuff. Like I do like a lot of like DIY stuff. I do a lot of like home like when I have something wrong with the house, like I do it myself. Like Tim can attest to that. Yeah. Like all these shelves I built myself for this room, and like I did the tongue and groove paneling and stuff behind it. Whatever, not perfect, but anyways, I want to make a gift or something for someone, and I looked into it, and I wasn't great at like I said, it wasn't good enough. Like me, I'm like a perfectionist, so if I if I don't like it, I won't like give it to someone. And then I just like looked into laser machines, and they were actually pretty expensive. But I found like this like cheap China one that I had to put together myself. But I did it, and like the software was super janky, but I finally like vaguely figured it out, and then I just like kept doing it. And then I ended up not making anything for myself, but I made some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah. I have a very cool Tolkien plaque. Maybe I want.
Yeah, maybe I'll.
It's above my.
I don't know if I have a picture of it or not, but yeah, I don't know. So, what was the question? How did I get into it?
How'd you get into it?
Basically, I wanted to make a gift, and then it didn't come out great, and then I just found like a cheap one that wasn't like $5,000,
right?
Obviously, so yeah, I guess. And then I was like, I can make an Etsy shop with it, and then I just like spur of the moment did.
Nice.
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wow.
There's not really a profound reason for that one.
Jason asks, what is your plan if you get 1 million subs?
Jason. So if you're watching, Jason, what is my plan? Oh my gosh, if I got 1 million subs, world domination would be on the top 3. I really, if I had 1 million subs, I'd find a way to not work. That's what I would do. If I had 1 million subs, I would basically, obviously,
library,
I would build a bigger room, add onto the house just for like a giant library room with a studio. I'd be able to put out more videos because then I'm like pretty much all the time I dedicate to real life work, I would just dedicate to like the YouTube channel.
Sure.
The production would definitely go up, and I don't know if you hire people at that point to do some like editing, because if I didn't have to edit, I would do so much more. I just hate editing so much. I do a lot more educational stuff too, like try to like work with people, especially like I want to branch off into like the nature stuff a lot, and I would try to get like things where I'd go like with scientists or conservationists in like other countries and like help them out and stuff and like promote them. I guess that'd be like what I would like to do. I don't know.
Yeah.
That'd be, I don't know.
Yeah, why not? Cool.
Something like that.
Okay. How did you choose your channel name?
I just like the Roman triumph. If you don't know what that is, after like a commander in the Roman army was like victorious, like significantly victorious, they would have like a giant military parade basically when they came back and stuff, and it's called like the triumph. So I just like that word, I guess, for that concept.
Yeah.
Kind of like, and I think they got like a wreath too, and I just liked it. So, and then I figured I might as well have my original name way back in the day, like for like 6 months, was Triumphs of History and Fantasy, because that rolls off the tongue like butter, you know what I mean? And I was like, nah, so I just like made it into like Trumpful Reads, because you have to have reads or books, because I'm so boring. So I guess it just associated with like the Roman triumph, I guess.
Nice.
And actually, Mary Beard, who has that SPQR book, has a book just on the Roman triumph, I think.
All right. What are your top 5 historical eras?
Okay, so we'll go with like I said, the Middle Republic, and then the late Roman Empire, like under Diocletian, like when it became the Tetrarchy, down to like the fall of the West, I guess. And late antiquity kind of jumps into that, so I'd say like that's like roughly 300 to 800, roughly. It's kind of like the in-between, goofy period between the classical world and like the Middle Ages proper. I really enjoy. Some other eras, I do like the Ancient Near East. I like the late Bronze Age, so roughly 1600 to like 1100, something like that. I like World War I a lot. That's like the only modern-ish thing the last like 500 years that I enjoy. And that's 4. What's another era? I guess. I don't know. I do like Greece and stuff, but I don't. I guess that's. I mean, I guess I like the Hellenistic world, kind of like the era. Like that's pretty much the same thing as like the Middle Republic. But I guess I'd say. Yeah, I guess I'll go with like I don't know, from Dark Age Greece, so roughly like say 800 through like the Persian Wars and stuff. That doesn't get enough clout. I guess it's always like the high classical age, like of Athens, from like 500 to like 400 is like always like what people like read about. So I'll go with the archaic Greece.
Right. Cool. They also ask, what is your favorite book on World War I?
Oh, I got one. That one I can actually pick It's A World Undone. It's like right there on the. My World War I is like literally on the bottom there. I don't know how many shelves you guys can all see, but there's what 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, there's 7 shelves, and I got 4 of these, and they're all full except for like 3 on the bottom, like way over there. But anyways, World Undone: The Story of the Great War, 1914 to 1918 by G.J. Meyer. It's definitely my favorite World War I book. It's a complete overview. I mean, it is kind of a beast there, but it's highly readable. Has a lot of like cool little vignettes, covers everything important, but also covers some like neat like little things as well. Very readable, even though it's like 700 pages. Yeah, it's over 700 pages plus some like notes and everything. And like I said, it's the best 1-volume book on the Great War that you could possibly get, I think. So definitely highly recommend this one. And like I said, it's gigantic, but readable. It's very palatable.
All right. Becca asks, do you plan on any more kids?
For you guys that don't know, I have one son. He's gonna turn 2 pretty soon. Aside from Sawyer, do I plan? I said, are you sure you want that as your question? Because like no one even knows I have it because I don't put him on like any of my social media stuff. Do I think Courtney wants another one, and I'm like, let's just wait till he doesn't beat us up. He's only like recently like started sleeping through the night in the past like 6 months or something. Right. I don't know. But then we also don't want to wait forever because I don't want to be like 1,000 years old. Of course. I don't know. Probably. I just do. Oh, do I want?
You want in general, I guess. Probably.
Yeah, I'd probably lean towards one more.
Yeah.
Though we had a hard time getting Sawyer, so it'd be more complicated the second time around, I think. So.
Right. Have you always been a history reader? And when did you start reading so much nonfiction?
All right. Okay, so when I started reading for serious, like after high school, like you said, first year of college, whatever, pretty much all I read was history stuff. Though I say that, I think it was actually my sophomore year I switched to history in college. But yeah, I used to read like a little bit of everything, but just like not, I might have read like a book a month, if that. Like in high school and like maybe the first year of college. But yeah, once I started actually reading, it was almost all history books. And since maybe like the year before BookTube, and then especially since starting BookTube in 2018, I've branched into like a lot more. Like nature books are probably tied now with my history books from my favorites and like the quantity that I read. But yeah, what was the question? Something about
I think, when did you start reading nonfiction or something?
Yeah, it's like
I'm sorry,
I just say sophomore year, and then it's almost always been history. So
okay, we're gonna go with that because I'm afraid I've lost the little doodad. How did you meet Tim?
You can
answer that.
Yeah, he can. I'll let Tim. I've been yapping all.
Let's see. You were hired to gut a library, if memory serves.
I was a book burner.
Yeah, you were book burning at the time, through Fahrenheit 451.
Yeah,
and
I was fighting him.
I was brought in as a librarian to manage the collection that you were leaving intact.
Yeah, so, basically they were like, "Do you want like extra hours and man the desk?" And I was like, "No."
Yeah.
No. And so actually, if I would have taken that, I don't think we would have ever met.
No, probably
not. I mean, I might have met you like at your library, but I don't.
They wanted someone extra on hand just to kind of.
I didn't have the time to do it.
Yeah, do a little bit of the extra library work, and I was already working at a nearby library, so that I was kind of loaned out initially, and it kind of became a more eventful position than I expected later on, but. Yeah, that was how we met. We started talking about books naturally enough as we were working there. Yeah. So, kind of snowballed from there. And
that would have been late 2014.
That's right.
So we're approaching 6 years now.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah.
I wasn't his boss. Technically, we had different bosses somehow. Who actually was she both your?
I think technically she was my supervisor. I met her like twice. It was a little bit of a chaotic time in that particular.
Oh yeah, we lost 3 librarians in like 4 months.
Yeah,
I mean, I wasn't even technically a librarian. I was just like a consultant. Basically, was like my title because they were like
the library was having kind of a crisis of identity at the time.
Yeah. We went from the college library, to the Center of Innovative Learning, which meant, Justin, you need to like we need to go from like I can't even remember what it was, like 300 something shelves to 200.
Yeah.
Which means you got to kill like 30,000. That's what it ended up being. Was I think 26,000 or something.
Yeah.
I later had to decatalog that many books.
Yeah, we did all sorts of things with those books. I remember at one point we were tossing them out an
Yes.
open window
Yes.
onto the.
Some okay, they were like really bad, like old books. They were like books from like the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s on like pediatrics and science.
Books that were horrendously out of date that could not be used really for anything apart from.
Though most of them got either recycled or I worked with Better World Books, which is a great, I think. I buy half my books through Better World Books.
All right.
Sorry for the interruption.
Yeah, that more or less.
Actually, that's pretty good. I've gone this long.
Run interruption. Yeah. All right. The next question. How did you end up in Maine?
I had no choice in the matter initially. I grew up in Florida, but my parents are from northern Maine, and we moved back. I think I was either 12 or 13. So I didn't have a choice at the time. And then I just didn't move, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, I went to college because it was like super cheap. I had a good like financial aid package with like the local boring college. But so that's pretty much why I stayed. And then, I got married and then have a house and a kid now. So I'm just like, oh, no one's paying attention to you, huh, Daisy?
Hi, Daisy.
So I guess I didn't have a choice, and then I don't mind it, actually. I like having, like, lots of land just, like, to myself. Yeah. Just, like, for an example, the population density of the town, if you can even call it a town, the settlement I live in, is 10 people per square mile. So, yeah.
Right.
So,
yeah.
I don't know. I grew up in the city, and I don't know, I just don't really want to go back to a city now.
Yeah,
so.
You become a true maniac.
Yeah.
Second question from this person: have you always had a thirst for knowledge on many subjects?
Yeah, I'd say so. I don't know. I always like learning more, I guess, and I always like try to have like hobbies and stuff. Like right now, I watch like nature documentaries. I do my woodworking stuff. I do a lot of weightlifting and powerlifting and stuff. And I like try to read about it and like read articles and like watch videos on like how to do better with it and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much anything, I guess, more that I set my mind to for like something to do. I try to like learn all about it.
Right.
It actually becomes a problem in the sense that you don't have enough time to like do everything.
Jack of all trades.
Yeah, I guess so. So it's more like if I want to do something, I want to do it right. So I always, though of course with like history and stuff, it's more just. It's
more the Renaissance man ideal.
I guess the only thing I really suck at like that, like when it comes like academic stuff, like knowledge is languages. I just can't. Like I took like 4 years of French, and I can like read it okay, but I can't like speak it. I can't understand and where we live, if we go about 20 minutes north, like everyone's like bilingual with like French and English.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can't now, but when the border reopens, we
can
eventually do
that. Like if you don't know, Tim lives technically in Canada most of the time.
Or I lived technically in Canada. Yeah. At the moment, Canada is shuttered to me unless I want to quarantine for 2 weeks.
Yeah. So. But what am I? 20 minutes from the border, I think.
Something like that. Yeah.
25.
25. Yeah.
Anyways, it's like 15 miles. It just takes forever because we're like on the back roads out here where I live. But it is like French Acadian country pretty nearby, and then obviously like just the Quebecois is like 10 feet away from like
yeah.
I don't know how French is New Brunswick.
I couldn't say the statistics.
But I mean it's
more than a little anyway.
Yeah, it's got to be like
substantially so.
Yeah.
We have a quite large French population in New Brunswick, or at least those who do speak French regularly.
Yeah.
Now, granted, they generally speak much better English than we Anglophones speak French, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, languages I suck at. And I want to learn ancient Greek, or at least Koine Greek, and I want to learn like classical Latin. But there's no one up here that I even know that does it, let alone teaches it. Our colleges are so small up here, unless I go like 100, 200 miles away. And even I don't know if Orno even does.
Well, even many classics programs in colleges are being gutted and defunded. Yeah.
So I would like to learn that, but I've tried twice now. I've tried Latin and Greek, and it's just hard. I don't know. I just have a hard time. Like languages is like my weak spot, and then I tried to self teach myself it, and I don't think I did it very well, so I just gave up on it. So I don't know. What was the question? A thirst for knowledge.
Have you always had a thirst for knowledge?
So yeah, I guess, and like now that I live in like northern Maine, I'm really into like the country's like rural living and like what like you know the great outdoors. So I read a ton of like nature books and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I guess so. I don't know. As long as since like I graduated high school, before high school, I kind of just goofed around like until I graduated. So
yeah,
I'd say at least since you know then.
yeah. All right. What kind of music do you listen to?
It's complicated. Nah. Okay. So I like okay. Vaguely, like the easy answer would just be anything but country. But really, more specifically, it's I like heavy metal a little bit, but it's got I don't like really classic metal anymore or classic rock much. It's got to be like mellow death, which is like melodic death metal. If you go look that up yourself. I hate black metal, but I like death metal. Go figure. But I'd say probably the genre I listen to the most is like trap, and I'm not even sure what half my bands are called. They're like underground. Just I like a lot of like horrorcore. I think is what it's called, and just like underground rap and trap.
No, the kind of stuff where if you drove by and it was playing, you'd probably just like drive a little faster, especially when it was late at night.
Well, especially in like northern Maine, not many people like listen to like what I listen to. So it's Let's just say it's been awkward a couple times with my father-in-law who lives nearby. Like I would be like working out in the garage with like some like Ghost Main and stuff like blasting. And like he like hears some of the words and just like stares at me and it's like super awkward. Like when I like turn around and he's like there.
Right.
That's talking about. I can't go look it up yourself, I guess.
Right. And this person's
of course like now like the nice book two people are gonna like look up half my music and just be like, oh my god.
That's not that. That's not so bad, man. All right. A second question from this person: a subject you don't read but want to.
All right, I'm gonna go with philosophy. I do read philosophy, but I always have really good intentions at the beginning of the year, and then I end up doing terrible with it. I even like with BookTube. I think I've only read maybe like 20 philosophy books out of like all the books I've read. I like want to. I just never get around to it. I guess.
Yeah.
One that I just started fairly recently, like last year, is like I don't know what it probably has a term, but I call it like adventure, exploration, and travel. Just like accounts of people going out doing like whether that's like conservation work or exploring or like mountain climbing or just getting in trouble in the sense of like getting lost or whatever, just around the world and stuff. I don't know what you'd call it, but I like those. Any
travel logs,
those.
I guess, or...
Travel logs, yeah. I guess travel genre is like a book, but I guess it's not really not like the guides. You know what I mean? It's more like. Sure. I don't know. Like more like getting like hiking and stuff more than like seeing like all the like sights. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. I'll ask another question. What you read many books, so what for you constitutes the kind of book you really want to read? Is it great prose, great characterization?
All right. Are you talking about like fiction or nonfiction?
Let's go with fiction.
Okay, fiction. Definitely characters. I'm more of a character person over plot. My analogy that I always say is, you can have like characters in a box. If you have they're just sitting in a box, right? Mm-hmm. If you have great characters, it still could turn out good. You could have but if you have cardboard characters rather than a cardboard box, you have cardboard characters, like the coolest plot ever, you end up with a boring story because you don't care about the character. I don't know. That's how I feel. So it's like.
Right.
Sorry. I don't know. I prefer characters over plot any day. Fiction. I guess I expect the prose to be better. I'm more lenient with nonfiction because I think a lot of nonfiction books, especially, I guess like the more scholarly ones, they're not necessarily written by writers. That's not really their intention.
They want to be more.
They're more informative and whatever. As long as they're clear, like if they're like bad prose and also you have no muddling through everything, that's not good. But I mean, if you get point across and stuff, so I'm more lenient with nonfiction, especially. I guess the only time it would be otherwise would be like maybe like the popular histories or popular science books that are meant to actually hold your attention to like a new reader to that topic or whatever. then I'd say like I would expect the prose to be a little bit better. But like I said, overall,
Sure.
the more scholarly it gets, the less I care about the prose.
Absolutely.
With fiction, I guess I just expect the prose to be better.
Yeah, right.
Just because you're telling a story. That's literally
it's meant to be a work of art.
That is the point. Whereas with a lot of nonfiction, that's probably more of a secondary. Like it's good, obviously. It's good, but it's not necessary. Whereas I think prose, it might not be technically necessary, but it's not enjoyable if there's bad prose and a story. That's the whole point, is to enjoy either listening to it or reading it. So if it has bad prose, I can't imagine enjoying it as much.
Follow-up question.
I don't know if that answered.
Oh, it's a follow-up question. Could you recommend a nonfiction or scholarly author who does have great prose, even though they don't have to?
What? Any kind of nonfiction, or do you mean history or like nature books?
Oh no, any kind of nonfiction.
Okay, with good prose. Like I said, Braiding Sweetgrass, she has great, like it's part memoir. She's got great stories, and her prose, like her analogies and story, like her like little stories, her vignettes from her, just her life is really good. Like for example, I guess I mean maybe not the prose per se, but like she has an example where she's talking about, she was like a single mother for a while. She's talking like comparing, she was cleaning out her pond so she could bring like more life to like the shores and in the water and stuff, and she was comparing like that to like working on her life like with her daughter, stuff like that. It came across like really well. And she has, one of my other favorite scenes is when she takes her like ecology students like out into like the marshlands for like a week or two, and they have to like live off the land and stuff. And the way she describes like kind of their growth over the course of like a week or whatever, it's really good. Like I said, I don't know if it's like the greatest prose or if she just has great stuff to tell, so it's like naturally just good. Let's see. Let me think of let's see. Cy Montgomery for nature stuff also writes very well. Like I said, I'm trying to think like actual prose like off the top of my head. I'm not sure if like they're just great stories, so it's like I said, it's just easier.
Informs it a little bit.
There was like one world. I don't read very much World War II, but I read this like 5 years ago. Right there, Moral Combat by Michael Burleigh. I would say is like one of the best prose books if you're looking for like good like similes and turns of phrase and stuff. I remember that was very well done. I'm trying to think other history stuff off the top of my head. I'm sure there's lots. I'm just, you're making me look at all my history books. Like a philosophy book, Will Durant's The Story of Philosophy, I remember was well done. I want to say the prose was good, but
right.
I'm trying to think maybe like a Roman history one, but boys.
Well, we've got a few anyway.
Yeah, I think the history writing probably does get a bad rap, but I'm sure there are some that like write it. I'm just drawing a blank here on history ones.
As all of the history aficionados.
Like yeah, I know. Technically, a lot of the older ones, like for example, like Gibbon's, like Decline Fall of the Roman Empire, I can't stand, but it is art. Like he was a pompous punk, but he did write well. He knew it. That was the problem. Grow was okay. I couldn't read that much. Just because I know it's so outdated, I couldn't like commit myself to read all 12 volumes. Those were a gift. That was a gift, so I don't feel quite as bad. I'm trying to think of fiction one that was really well. Jane Wolfe is over my head, but I don't know. I think the prose is great, but
it's fantastic.
Shadow and Claw, or Shadow of the Torture and Claw of the Conciliar, the first two books of the New Sun or whatever, are really good. Like I said, it's a little over my head actually, and T.H. White's Once and Future King, I think, is superb. If you want to talk about like actual like the writing style, it's very quirky, especially the first book, The Sword and the Stone, because he kind of has like some modern insertions, like kind of like the narrator like kind of makes some points stuff. I think that is very well done for that. Actually, one other fantasy is actually Ed McDonald has like lots of really cool turns of phrases and similes and stuff, I think, if I remember.
Great, yeah.
Yeah, there you
go. Final question from Emma.
Yeah.
3 authors where you'd like to read their entire body of work.
Oh, boys. Okay, number 1, Bernd Heinrich, who is like he was born in Germany, but he moved to Maine when he was a kid. He used to teach at the University of Vermont, but he has like a cabin in Western Maine that he built, and he's got like 20 nature books, and I've read 3 I think so far. But one of them's like A Cabin in the Maine Woods. Just about like a year, the first year I think he did that. He's got lots of just great stuff. And like I said, he lives in Maine, so it's kind of a lot of his like homemade experiments that he does. Like he's actually like a world renowned like science like ecologist and stuff. But a lot of his stuff he also does just for his books are like around his like property and stuff that he tries to keep like as natural as possible. And I could theoretically do most of that stuff because it's the same ecosystem I live in. It's only like maybe 300 miles away. Of course, 300 miles sounds like a lot, but and then the Maine woods, it's pretty similar. 2 other authors. A history one, I'll go with Adrian Goldsworthy because he's got like a ton of Roman history books, and I've only read I think like 1. But he's probably like one of the biggest names in like. I think he's kind of like in between like super scholarly and like a popular historian. So I'd go with that just because he's got a lot of books on everything all over the place. I think I got like 2 like right there. I think In the Name of Rome, and then like he's got like The Fall of Carthage that I actually own that I haven't read yet. And then one more. I guess it doesn't really count. I would like to read like all of, like the Horus Heresy stuff. There's 54 books in that series plus an 8-book sub-series plus or 8-book ending series plus like a 18-book prequel series, even though the whole series itself is a prequel to like 40K. But that's actually written by like lots of different authors. But eventually, like I'd like to get through all the 30K stuff, I guess, off the top of my head.
Right. And our final question: what publisher are these books from? I'm reading this story.
Okay, yeah, I know what they're talking about. They're talking about. Let's see. I don't know. Let me move the camera so they can see. Because, yeah, you won't be able to tell from right there. Alright, they're asking about these ones. No. These are all Fuller Society. This one's. Okay, they're actually. The first ones I think they wanted to know were these ones, which are my source records of the Great War. Which are. They were published, I think, in 1920, 1921. And it's actually really interesting because they're almost like full. They're just full of primary sources on World War I, written like right after World War I happened. And you got like generals, economists, like politicians, like reporters and stuff, all like giving like little articles and like essays basically, like on like World War I. Just for example, on this. Oh, and also the covers are actually based on the Versailles Treaty parchment, which is kind of interesting. Let's see, source records for that. So I'm gonna pick like volume 3, so it's not just like the beginning stuff. So let's see, we got like German military rule in France, official severities, and the Great Pillage by William, Kaiser William. We got Bishop Henry Cleary from New Zealand, and Prefect Miram, Chief Civil Magistrate of the invaded region. So you're actually getting like literary works by like Kaiser Bill essentially, plus like I said, like the prime ministers of like different places and civil magistrates and whatever. Like the U-boat war on commerce by Prince von Bülow, former Imperial Chancellor of Germany. Admiral von Tirpitz, who was the basically the highest ranking admiral in like the German Navy at the time, and William Archer, a noted British author. Let's see, Nouveau Chapelle, which is it's got like the subtitle, the first great artillery assault. We got Count Charles de Souza, the renowned French military authority, Frank Cana, a British publicist, and an anonymous German narrative that's been found like on the battlefield or something. So you got like you literally have primary sources and stuff written by people that lived through the war themselves and actually like were part of the war, whether they were planning like food distribution or whatever, or artillery distribution, or was actually like governing like territories at the time, or the actual military like personnel like on the ground and stuff. So it's very interesting in that sense. And then the other books they were looking at or asking about were these green ones right here, and this was a gift I received. And it's can't remember what Grope's first name is. George Grope. Yeah, it's a 12-volume history. I think it's 12. Maybe it's 10. Oh, maybe I guess it's 12. A 12-volume history of Greece, and it's, I think if I remember, it's the second major compendium history of Greece written in English. I think that's like its own thing, not like kind of just a rehash of the primary sources or whatever. Obviously, a lot of it's outdated, but these are cool. These were printed in 1869, so I think these are my oldest books, except maybe I think Cooper's Virgil might be a little bit older. But anyway, so they'd be 100 over 150 years old, and it's the full set. And I got these as a birthday gift, I want to say, a couple years ago. So I thought they were really cool. I've like flipped through some of them, and I don't really have any plans on reading them all the way through. I'd have to get them on a Kindle if I was going to do that, because they will. I mean, you can see like a lot of them are kind of like banged up and stuff. I don't know, but it's kind of interesting having it. That's like all my old books right there. These ones are from like 150. These are all like 1800s right here, and those are 1920. What was? Oh, duh. These ones are old, and I got like some like Macaulay's like History of England up there from like the 1800s as well. Cool. Yeah, would it be like at an hour? We're pretty late.
Oh, probably. And that brings us to our close, though. I think I don't have any more questions in the hat or the.
All right. If you have any more questions, if you stuck around for this, I don't even know what you'd call this. I probably should have broken it up into multiple parts, but I am too lazy for that. I'm sorry. If you have any more questions that you'd like for next time I get around to this someday, leave some comments down below. Say hi to Tim.
Please do, yeah. I will feel all the warm fuzzies, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, I think that was it. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like it if you liked it. If you thought my answer sucked, put a dislike for real. Like, that way I can just like, no, my answer sucks.
Like and subscribe. We got to get him to 1 million so that he can build an extra wing under the house.
Oh yes, I got to get to 1 million. I don't think they realize like how small BookTube, like my work people don't know how small BookTube is in like the grand scheme of things. Like I don't think they do.
We could be on the verge of something big. Who knows?
Watch, maybe this video will go viral and like just
explode. Yeah.
I sincerely doubt that, but who am I to say? All right, so thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna end the video because I blabbered on, and it's gonna take me like 1,000,000 years to upload a freaking hour-long video. Though I actually upgraded my internet, even though I live in the middle of the woods. Woo! Finally, took about. I remember there was a time I had no internet here when I worked in IT.
Yeah.
I remember working in IT.
When we first met, you had either very limited or no internet here.
No, I didn't even have satellite. I got satellite stupid HughesNet like the year after.
You didn't download everything when you were at work.
Yep,
that's right.
It was
take your laptop around, set it up in the background when you were working.
I know. Yeah. It was so. I worked in IT, and I'm like, yeah, at my house I have no cell service and no internet, and people just like, you're gonna fix my computer, and I was like, yes. All right. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Have a good day, and always remember,
read victoriously.